Okay.
I will try to
Okay.
talk about some relations.
Okay.
The buildings from Pochaiv and the buildings from Blaj. The title is
Товариство, ми почали, все.
Connections related to the Vlaicu woodcuts.
Okay.
And I have done this presentation together with my father. In fact, he's the one who studied Blaj for many years. And the engravings from Blaj, or the woodcutters from Blaj, the artists from Blaj, was the topic of his PhD dissertation. He attended his PhD many years ago, but still we have found interesting and new things regarding woodcuts from Blaj and the Ukrainian woodcut.
Okay.
So, first I will tell you about some premises regarding the establishment of the big Catholic Church in Transylvania. This church, which is also known as the Romanian Church United with Rome, was found at the end of the 17th century and was the result of both religious and political circumstances. Several key premises lead to its creation, to the creation of the church. The Habsburg expansion and the Catholic influence, the marginalized status of the Romanian Orthodox population, the desire for equal rights. The Romanian population didn't have the same rights like the other population from Transylvania. The Union of Brest was a model for the Romanian, and the role of the Jesuits and the imperial authorities. Otherwise, this is the list of the Greek Catholic bishops from the 18th century. The first bishop was Anca Elisabeta, the one who accepted the union, was an Orthodox bishop at the beginning, and then he accepted the union. So we can consider him the first Greek Catholic bishop for the Greek Catholic Romanians. And first, he uses his bishopric seat in Alba Iulia. But then there were some, the Greek Catholics weren't accepted in Alba Iulia. So the next very important bishop, that was Ioan Blaj, he moved the seat of the bishop to Blaj. So Ioan Blaj is very important because he is the one who set Blaj as the center of the Greek Catholic Church. Then a very important name is the one of Pavel Aron, who founded the typography and also founded the schools in Blaj. And the last one I would mention, it was Ioan Boc, because he had a very long period of time when he was a bishop, and he did a lot of efforts to sustain this community. Why Blaj? Because Blaj was located in the center of Transylvania, and it was a safer area under direct Habsburg protection, unlike Alba Iulia, which was still dominated by Protestant influence. Blaj offered more freedom to develop school, religious and educational texts, and organize the Romanian clergy training. It later became known as the Little Rome of the Romanian Church and played a major role in the Romanian Enlightenment. The newly established Greek Catholic Church needed institutions to support it. There were an acute shortage of books, and the Greek Catholics initially used Orthodox worship books printed behind the Carpathians. To this was also added the rebellion movement provoked by the hieromantic Sarai, dissatisfied with these aspects because it endangered the religious union. The Empress Maria Theresa established a decree, signed a decree, from which the government was supposed to set a location and give a necessary amount of money in order to found a printing press in Pennsylvania. So the place that was chosen for the printing press was Blaj, the place where the bishop and the bishop was staying. Yes, so in 1747 was the year when the printing started to work, but at the beginning they printed just some flying leaves. After that they started to print books, and the first one was Floarea Adevărului, the flower of truth. It's a book that was defining the identity of the Greek Catholic confession. By the end of the 18th century, here in Blaj, there were printed all about 100 titles, ecclesiastical books and spiritual ones, full text books, most of them adorned with wood engravings. There are 5 gifted engravers who signed these woodcuts, and there are also some of them which didn't sign, and we don't know who they were. So, the first one is Vlaicu, then Ioanicu Engredi, Sandu Tipografu, Petru Papavici Râmniceanu, and Mitre Pinta. Their activity was studied, as I said, in my father's PhD, which was published in 2 editions. First in 1995, and the second one 3 years ago. The second one was upgraded. So, the themes of the engravings printed in the books of Blaj are exclusively religious. Some of them are inspired from reality, like the Blaj Cathedral, the panorama of Blaj Cathedral, or the funeral of the Bishop Petru Paveliaron, and others illustrate the content of the book, like John the Damascene, David the Evangelist, and so on. A careful examination of these woodcuts, as well as of those engravings from the neighboring of the Western European area, has revealed certain German influences via Ukrainian channels. Thus, one may notice that influence of the Baroque, but also the Renaissance and even the later Gothic. But the main aspect in our discussion is that Vlaicu, the first engraver from Blaj, executed 11 woodcuts for the 1751 Chaslov Book of Hours, out of which 6 are faithfully inspired by engravings from books published in Ukrainian Greek Catholic centers, such as Pochaiv and Kvitnya. To this, we can add another 4 woodcuts published afterwards, so after 1751, which have similarities with engravings from Pochaiv. All the engravings, yes, it is well known that both Pochaiv and Kvitnya monasteries were Catholic in the 18th century. So, regarding the Ukrainian engravings, they have been found in recently published, or less recently published books that deal with art of printing. Here we refer to the book of Tabasco, the books published by Valentina Bociowska, Ufa Ludmila, and Adamovich. And also a remaining catalog accomplished by Achim Policar Pițulescu regarding the Slavonic book from an important library from Bucharest. So, unfortunately, we didn't have direct access to books printed in the 18th century in Ukraine, but we are lucky that some of them are digitalized. However, we hope that in the near future, once the war is over, we will have direct access to the rich funds of the Ukrainian libraries. We should also specify that in 3 out of the 6 Ukrainian analogies found by us are included in books published after 1751, the year that just over here. But it is certainly that these engravings were also included in books printed before, but because we couldn't see all the books printed in Pochaiv and Blaj, this is just what I found in this moment. But anyway, it's sure that Blaj the Blaj woodcuts has been influenced by this Pochaiv and Blaj engravings and not vice versa. So here are the engravings from Chaslov, the 6 of them. The first one is the nailing of the cross. You can see the variant from Blaj, and in the middle you can see the variant from Pochaiv. Of course, I found the Pochaiv woodcut in a book from 1758, but I'm so very sure, as I said before, that this engraving was created even before 1751. And here you can also see some reproduction of the halter with the same theme, printed in Nuremberg in 1491. There are some relations with this engraving, but not as close as the relations are between Pochaiv and Blaj. The next engraving is the one from the one called the Eucharist. It is signed by Vlaicu, and you can see here the Pochaiv analogy from Lord Svetnaya from 1747. I think the images are spoken by itself, by themselves. The third one is the crucifixion. You can see on the right the Blaj woodcut, the woodcut from Blaj, and on the left the woodcut from Pochaiv, which I found in 2 books, in liturgy from 1744 and Yod Svetnaya from 1747. The next one is the descendant from the cross. I found it in an amethyst from Pochaiv from 1756, but again, I'm sure it was printed before. The similarities are very obvious. Okay, and not the last one. Here is the entombment of the Christ. And you have the Pochaiv variant from late Pochaiv, 1776, and the variant from Blaj, and also I choose to show you the Lugas Prana Theater variant of this theme, to which I think they are somehow related. Not directly, but somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the last one from this Chaslov is the resurrection. The resurrection, I have found an analogy with an woodcut from Polstav from Kiev from 1740. Also, I have discovered that the German engraver Johann Andreas had a similar illustration, and here there is no doubt between this that these 3 engravings are correlated. Okay, here you can see other engravings done by Vlaicu from this Chaslov. for which we couldn't find any Ukrainian analogy yet. But for agony in the garden, I could also find some similarities with one of Johann Andreas' painting. Johann Andreas was a German engraver, important German engraver, and publisher and printer from Augsburg. So you can see the German influence here by a Ukrainian modest made here. Okay. The second part is related to the illustrations from other books printed in Blaj, other than this just lost book of ours from 1751. And I have chosen the Virgin with the Child on the crescent moon, styled by Ioanițiu Anthony. This engraving appeared in the Apostle of Blaj in 1767, but I think it has been influenced by the Virgin with the Child on the crescent moon from liturgy of Pochaiv from 1744. I mean, if there are some information that some scholars from Blaj, maybe printers, maybe engravers, maybe anyway, priests, monks, they have visited Ukrainian centers, the most important Ukrainian centers, and they have brought books from there. Some of them are even kept, not all of them, of course. Many of them were lost because the lot of years passed since then. But some of them are kept in our library, but unfortunately nothing from Pochaiv. Yes, here you can see the icon, the title page frame signed by Sandu from Pochaiv, Blaj, 1773, and the icon of the Mother of God of Pochaiv with miracles. You can notice the shape of this base part is identically, and also if in the case of Pochaiv we have the portrait of the Mother of God in an oval frame. Here we have the portrait, the image of Christ, but the frame is the same. So here they just use some elements, not copy entirely like it was in the other cases. Here I also found some common elements between the image of the Cathedral of Blaj from Chaslov, the Saint Chaslov, and the icon of the Mother of God from Pochaiv, because at the base of the image we have the representation of the Cathedral of Pochaiv, respectively of Blaj, and on the other side, on the top of the image, we have the patron saints. In the case of Blaj, is the representation of the Holy Trinity, and in the case of Pochaiv, the Mother of God from Pochaiv. Okay, this is the last case I'm going to talk about. We have here an image, a very interesting image from Motiva Plecatio Blaj, 1760, and I have found some analogies with a couple of engravings from Pochaiv. For example, in Triod Svetnaya from Pochaiv 1747, we have the representation of the coronation of the Mother of God. Then there are some similarities between the coat of arms of Bishop Rudnitsky and the coat of arms of Bishop Petru Pavel Aron. And at the bottom of the image from Blaj, you can find the representation of the panorama of Blaj, while an analogy might be found with the panorama of Pochaiv. Okay, the conclusions. The opening of systematic schools in Blaj in 1754 together with the activity of the printing press, contributed to the promotion of the Enlightenment ideas of the time in Transylvania. To these institutions, we have to add the library and the cathedral. In the years that followed, thanks to its institutions, Blaj formed people who were able to contribute to the creation of the modern Romanian state. The engravings that we have presented here, especially the 6 ones from the 1751 Chaslov, which is considered to be the first illustrated book printed in this typographical center. So these engravings prove that the Greek Catholics, in their way of defining and consolidating their identity, appealed to similar engravings printed in the Greek Catholic centers from present-day Ukraine, like Pochaiv and Uniev. We also remark that most of the images from the respective Chaslovs present scenes from the Passion of the Christ, a very common theme in Western art, but not so frequent in the Romanian book illustration till 1751. Anyway, later on, the engravers from Blaj have followed models from the Ukrainian Orthodox centers, such as Kiev and Lvov. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was very significant for me in at least 2 moments that Ukrainian masters, Basilians, transmitted some German models to Romania. I did not know about this. I'm pleasured, okay. And on the other hand, I can assure you that it is really that these landscapes with Blaj, and with the coat of arms are intuitively understand to Ukrainian Greek Catholics because without any words, because the same model, the same science, and the same I don't know. It is really interesting. In Ukraine, we don't know such details. It's very. It is a subject for communication, for next communication. I think it's very interesting. I did not know about that Ukrainian Basilians who really stood in German institutions, in Catholic German, Bavaria, Bayern, that they transmitted some German models.
It's not quite a direct, the image I show you with the cross, with the kiss that is put on the cross, it's not quite a direct model, but it's sure that the model is circulating via Ukrainian, via Germany, maybe Poland and Ukrainian space, and then Romania.
Yeah, and some authors who investigate architectural heritage of Basilian Pochaiv monasteries, they say that in Pochaiv complex we can see also some models from South German lands, from Bavaria. Maybe it would be a signs of something greater. Yeah, I think. Okay, thank you very much.
There is still a lot to